found someone that he like genuinely cares about and loves. And so for her, that's all it takes. If he loves her, if that's who she's all in too. So she has a very loving attitude towards her. Everyone does. Gabe's very nice to her. You know, the Gabe's parents are as well. So, you know, it's just it made her relax a lot. But unfortunately, they started talking about like their best Christmas trees, and she was so comfortable that she kind of let it slip that she had never had one. And Ash was like, damn, you've never had a Christmas tree? Like, that is so fucked up, you know? And he didn't mean it to like try and embarrass her or hurt her, but it automatically made her feel that feeling of, I don't belong, you know? Like, I'm around these people, they live in this world that I don't belong in. And then she had to excuse herself, and she was ready to go. And so when they left from there, you know, Jace apologized. He said, I'm so sorry. I thought you were ready for that, or maybe I was just selfish and I wanted you to be with me so bad. He was like, but I don't think you were ready for that. You know, I think that was a lot. He was like, I should have maybe like let's introduce you to everyone individually instead of having everyone at you. And then she, of course, was apologetic. I'm sorry. I think I overreacted and, you know, blase, blase. And so then Jace was like, you know what, I'm going to go take her see the most amazing Christmas tree in the city. And that's what he did. And it was a beautiful moment. And Jace knew that looking at her, he's like, it wasn't just, he said when he talked to her, he said, you know, how much he cared about her, but it felt wrong. It was like, he knew that wasn't the right emotion. He knew it was, he loved this woman. That was what it was. And so the next day, she goes back to her apartment, and Jack is outside waiting for her. And so she's like, oh my gosh, how long have you been waiting? He was like, well, I came here last night, but they said you weren't here, so I figured I'd just wait. So she told the doorman, you know, or the doorman person at the desk, she tells them, you know, hey, whenever he comes, you let him up, you know, automatically. So she takes him upstairs, and he asks her if he can leave this backpack that he has, big backpack, in the apartment. And so she's like, sure, no problem. So then he's like, well, I gotta go. She's like, you just got here, where do you have to go? And he's like, I just gotta go take care of some stuff. She was like, well, will you come back, and you know, I'll cook his dinner and everything. And he's like, okay, I'll do that, I'll come back. So when Jack leaves, she leaves as well, and she goes to the grocery store. By the time she gets back to the apartment, Jace is there, and he is furious because he's pissed that she let Jack in. So you gotta think, this man genuinely does, like, he's already like obsessive, controlling, overprotective, and he loves this woman. And to know that this is the individual that sent people to hurt her, he can't wrap his mind around this undying loyalty that she has. So he is pissed that she has let Jack into this apartment. And she's like, I can't turn my back on him. And so he searches the backpack and finds that there's pills and other drugs in there. And Jace tells her that this is his apartment and Jack can never come. And automatically, boom, she was like, I don't have anything. I have nothing. And she runs out. I told you, this girl is a flight risk. She will run. And so she runs out. And later on, she decides to come back. But she's going to end it with Jace, because she doesn't like that he has that ability to do that. You know, that's kind of the thing. When you get someone and they have more than you, especially, this is an extreme case of it. But when it has a means to decide how you survive in life, to know someone else holds that power over you, you can't do that. That's too much, you know. And when you're used to having to do things on your own, which is what she is, even though she's claimed to having Jack, but she's had to do things on her own. For someone to come in and hold, it's like you're dangling this life over me that you can take it from me at any moment. And she doesn't want to live like that. Because when she came back to the apartment, she actually had the pill in her mouth and was about to swallow it, and she spit it out and she dumped all the pills down the drain. But the fact that it took her to that place, she knew, I need to end this with Jace. This isn't healthy for me. Clearly not him either if I'm driving him crazy all the time. So she came back to tell him it was over, and he wasn't there. So then she went to his apartment, and then of course by the time she gets to his apartment, the people at the building have called him to tell him she was there, but now she's left. And so the doorman from his apartment building called him and said, hey, she's here. And he's like, you sit on her if you have to. Don't let her leave. And he's like, she doesn't look like she's gonna leave, and she doesn't look good. She looks like really upset. And it had started raining and things like that, but she would not come from out of the rain. And so when Jace gets there, he's like, I'm not finna talk to you out here. We are going upstairs. And at first she's like, no, I need to say it to you. I need to get it out. I need to say it to you now. And he's like, I'll listen to whatever you need to tell me when it's warm. Let's go upstairs. So they go up to his apartment, and she tells him about what she was about to do, and that with the pill, and that this needs to be over. And he's like, but you didn't do it. You stopped yourself. You didn't do it. And she's like, yeah, but you don't understand. I haven't been to that place in years, because she's 23. But she's like, you think you have a life with all this type of stuff. It sounds like she's so much older, because Jace is 38, same age as Gabe. But, she's worked hard for her, to get to this place, and to know that something could take her back like that, it feels like poison. So she's ready to let it go. And so he, of course, apologizes profusely to her, and tells her, I'm sorry, I should have never did that. I wasn't, like, I get upset and I don't realize what I'm saying. And I don't think of it to those depths that you're thinking. Like, she takes it, like, wholeheartedly, and he doesn't mean it in that it's not that deep for him as far as trying to hurt her, But it cuts her to her core. And so then he was like, I just want to really understand why you always feel like you're indebted to Jack. I just want to understand it. And so apparently one of the foster fathers that they lived with used to look at her very lustfully. And Jack noticed it, saw it, and he stepped in to stop it. So he took that sexual abuse, because the guy didn't care if it was a boy or a girl, And so because of that, she always felt like he took the ultimate thing, like that ultimate abuse for her. It's like, whatever he needs, I'll always be there for him. And so now they're like, okay, Jace is going to work an angle here with her. So he says, okay. He's like, I want you to move in with me. Like, this whole I don't like this anyway. She's like, the only way I will move in here is if you let Jack have that apartment and let him get on his feet. And she's like, Jason's like, okay, I'll give in, because he's getting what he wants, which is her in his apartment. And he's like, but there are rules. He's like, and if he has any type of drugs, and we can search at any time, but if he has any type of drugs, any type of crap's going on, he's out. He's like, and you can't speak to him by yourself anymore. Either Kate, Trevor, or myself need to be present when you're around him, period. And so she agrees, And so a few days later, Bethany, she goes out with Mia and her friends. She has a great time, just relaxing and having her hair down. And she had a great time. They got super drunk. They didn't plan on drinking. That wasn't the plan. But once they got there, everything's so super secure, because Gabe, he showed up to he doesn't play about Mia. So he was like, I'm going to be at the club too. I'll be at the bar. So they were super safe. On top of it, Caroline boyfriend's the bouncer. He's super protective of Caroline and everyone. So they felt in a safe environment. They're in the VIP section. They felt safe and they had an absolute ball. Gabe, of course, made sure, she got home safe, and her and Jace had, crazy sex. And so also before that, Jace was, after he had agreed to let Jack stay in the apartment, he let her know he was going to be the one to let Jack know what the stipulations were. Because she wanted to tell him, but he's like, I'm going to tell him. And I was like, because he wanted to say some other stuff. So that following day, he had talked to Jack, met him at the, had his security, round him up and brought him to the apartment and let him know, okay, we'll let you stay here. These are the conditions. And he could kind of tell, because he always says, my Bethy. And Jace was like, she's mine. And Jack was like, she was mine first. And I was like, damn. But he could tell. Jace, I think, always kind of figured that Jack was really in love with Bethany. But Bethany doesn't view him in that manner. But he could see it. He was like, oh, this man he got feelings. That's what's been going on all this time. So then let's fast forward thereafter. They've gone out. Bethany's gone out. She's had her fun. The next day, she finds out that, Jack's at the apartment. So she goes over. She takes the security detail with her. And she asks them, can you guys just stay outside? It'll be, just stay outside. Let me just talk to him for a little bit. So she talks to him. And he's made some hot chocolate. And then he makes her some. Because she's like, can you make me some too? He makes her some. And he looked like he was telling her, it sounded like he was saying goodbye to her. And she was like, where are you going? Like, and why? And he's like, I'm just going away. And she's like, that's not an answer. Where are you going? Like, what's going on? And he kind of, again, he's telling her, you have this new life. And, she's like, yeah, but I love you. You're my brother. And he's like, I'm not your brother. And when the minute he said that, she realized he don't view you in a sisterly manner. Like, nah, this man views you. He has real feelings. And she was like apologetic. And she was like, I'm so sorry. She's like, I didn't know you saw me like that. I always thought of us as, brother and sister and da-da-da. And he said, well, hell, now you know. So she drinks the hot chocolate. And then all of a sudden, everything starts to go real fuzzy. And then she passes out. So then Jace gets a phone call from security. And they're like, she's in the hospital. She's overdosed. And so they're automatic, like, for some reason Jace didn't believe it, because he was like, there's no way she would do that. Like, that doesn't make sense. And so he rushes. So he's freaking out. He can't drive. So Gabe and Ash are like, yo, we got you. We'll take you to the hospital. You are in no shape to be driving anyone's car. So they get him to the hospital. He's panicking. He's freaking out. Where is she? Like, he was driving those doctors insane. So they tried to find out, he's like, there's just no way she would have done that. And they're like, sir, she did. There's like a lot, do you know what she could have taken? They're like, no, like, she doesn't do that. There's no way. And so then Jace's mind starts to reel him. And he's like, Jack was there with her. Like, he has to know, like, what the hell happened. And so she kind of came to for a moment, and then she kind of went back out. And then while he was outside talking to Jack, finding out the information, she coded again. and they had to try and bring her back. So when he goes outside to talk to Jack, he finds out Jack was going to kill himself. He had given her the wrong hot chocolate. It was by mistake.